Hello there, it's Mike, and this week without Katie. It's episode 140, and today we have a very special guest. This is to keep your ear holes tantalized while we're camping. This week on Cup of Rad. Okay, hey everyone, we're back. Guess what? You never thought you would hear us when we were actually camping. You thought, oh, great, we don't have to hear them anymore. But guess what? We're still coming at you. This week is a special pre-recorded episode that comes from you from the past, but is part of the future. It's episode 140, and this is a very special interview with Mr. Hollywood himself, a man that knows no bounds. He's so big, his ego can't contain himself. He's known in the world as the mighty, great Justimus Prime. And for a first, actually, having someone here in our majestic, fantastic, high-quality, state-of-the-art studio, we got Jesse. How you doing today, Jesse?
I am fantastic. Thank you for having me. I have been practicing this for a while, though, so I would like to give this a try. Hello there.
Well, now I'm out of a job. Fuck. All right, so now it's a Jesse podcast. Jesse Cup. I don't know that, you can go with that one.
Cup of Jess, maybe. Cup of Ross. I don't know.
Cream in your coffee.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be here in the majestic Cup of Rad studio.
Yes, full of
I'm
all
excited.
The state-of-the-art stuff, like the stuff that's hanging from the walls and the nothingness.
Especially the nothingness is very impressive. Right? You don't get this level or quality of nothingness just anywhere.
Right. This is what you get from independent podcasts.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
So you at home are probably listening going, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
And why is he important enough to be in studio?
And why do they call him Mr. Hollywood?
Yeah, right, Mr. Hollywood. He is Mr. Hollywood. And there's questions I want to ask him, but I can't ask him because he's on an NDA. So imagine that. Imagine you will never see this man's face, but you'll hear his voice right here on Cup of Rad.
Yes, exclusively.
So this is more or less just two dudes talking. There's no theme this week. It was just what we've done before in the past where we've talked about people's hobbies and stuff. And then I had the privilege of actually having Jesse here come and be able to sit down and talk to me instead of having to do a online interview or a phone call interview. So it'll be at least more reliable quality, hopefully.
I did not take a lot of convincing. I'm very lonely. Anyways.
I don't think it's going to get any better after this one.
It's all downhill from here.
So if you're interested, Jesse is single and waiting.
Hey.
For anyone's call, because I have a lot of Australian listeners, so you never know. You might get someone from down under. So anyways, right at the bat, I'm going to ask a question. It's a hard-hitting question. All the questions coming at you are from the spur of my head. I never actually planned any of them. If you have questions, we'll bang at those as well. But right off the bat,
yes. What
are your fandoms?
Probably I would say my biggest fandom is Marvel. I am all about the Marvel. I really enjoyed the comic books as a kid. I was very fortunate when I was younger to have been donated quite a collection of old comic books from the 70s, and a lot of that was there was a lot of Superman and Batman and DC, but a lot of it was Spider-Man and X-Men, and I really just absolutely fell in love with the Marvel universe. I've always loved it. And now with the Marvel Cinematic Universe in full force, I could not be happier as a Marvelite. Other fandoms, I love those classic 80s cartoons that I grew up with, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, He-Man, all of that good stuff.
Especially the ones with magic and mystery.
Especially the ones with oh my gosh.
And they're part of your history, right?
A part of my history. So anyone who listens to this podcast knows that Mike quite often will reference the Gummy Bears. And every time he does.
Wait, there's a cartoon called the Gummy Bears?
Yeah. Have you not seen it?
No, not at all.
You should check it out.
I thought it was all original material.
I think you might like it. But every time he does this, I have that damn theme song in my head all day long. And so I'm so happy that you've just managed to work in.
I know, right? I saved this one for you. I even waited. I waited multiple episodes to bring it back.
You couldn't even just do like a Gummy Bears episode just to get it all out of your system.
No, that's an impossibility. No, it can't happen.
Yeah.
No, not happening.
All right. Well, in beyond that, I mean, I am pretty much a fan of anything comic book, superhero, action, adventure, sci-fi. I mean, you name it, I've probably dipped my toe in it a little bit. Ooh. I play Dungeons and Dragons. I've played Magic the Gathering. I'm a very well-rounded nerd, I would say, in that sense. Except that, I would just like to state right off the bat, I am not the kind of nerd that is smart. I just want to clear that up. I'm the kind of nerd that enjoys fun things. I cannot fix your computer, so please stop asking.
All right, fair enough. Not the tech savvy.
Not the tech savvy.
Gotcha.
Astrophysicist.
Well,
Big Bang Theory type of nerd.
Just the comic.
Just the comics.
So when it comes to the comics and all that, like, yes. where does your heart lie? Like, when someone says, "Yo, Jesse, recommend me a character. What should I look at? What would you spit at them?" Well,
I mean, if you're going to look for an individual single Marvel character, you can't go wrong with Spider-Man. I mean, this is the classic kid that everybody can relate to. This is the kid who grew up as mostly an outcast, grew up with his aunt and uncle, grew up in a high school in New York, just an average, high school student who then all of a sudden, through the magic of radioactivity, becomes Spider-Man. And one of the great things about Spider-Man is that he is not one of these heroes that seems to rush into a situation automatically knowing what to do. He questions everything he does and every decision that he makes, and he faces a lot of consequences. And I always found that really relatable, because I was always, even as a kid, someone who liked to sit back and kind of analyze the situation before jumping in. I was not, especially when I was younger, a very impulsive person. So I would definitely say Spider-Man. If you're going to go with a team, I would have to say definitely X-Men, because I mean, the cast of characters in X-Men is so diverse, you can't not find someone or something relatable in that. And I mean, like, one of the coolest guys on the team is a bald guy in a wheelchair. So I mean, like, yeah, gotta love it.
So is that what you're striving for the future?
I'm striving for that for the future. I'm trying really hard.
The bald or the wheelchair?
Both.
Okay.
I would really like both. So far, I've been unsuccessful at either. I am fully mobile with a lush head of hair, ladies. So I don't know how that dream is really going to play out. I also do not currently have psychic powers, but you never give up the dream.
Okay.
I mean, I wanted to be a Jeep. Like Optimus Prime.
I like how it was a Jeep too. It wasn't like a semi.
It wasn't No. I wanted to be a Jeep because I thought, I always thought the semi would have a lot of trouble off road. I mean,
fair.
Think about that. You're in a highway, you're in a city, you're good, but off road, Optimus he's going to struggle. That
is a very valid point.
Yes.
Very valid point. Yeah. So I'm expecting that to be a Halloween costume in the future. To you be a Jeep.
Yeah, because I would be down for that.
Okay, fair enough. So what is it about Spider-Man that really connects you? You spoke a bit about how the struggle and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you actually ever apply any of those to your real life? Because we all know that you, being Mr. Hollywood, you have had experiences that no other person has had.
No, nobody ever has ever done what I have done. Yes. One thing about Spider-Man that I really take to heart is the whole concept of, with great power comes great responsibility. And I know that's like the ultimate Spider-Man cliche to be like, oh yes, this is what I love about him. But really, I am someone who absolutely detests bullying in all of its forms. And bullying is nothing if not an abuse of power. And I have tried my entire life to discourage bullying, to diffuse bullying when I see it, and, you know, to try and teach my students whenever I can the value of compassion over, you know, teasing and bullying, because that is there are very few things that make me angry and, you know, bring out my inner Hulk, but that is one. Bullying, for sure. So that is, I think, part of what I really like about Spider-Man is he learns very early on the importance of not abusing your power.
Well, shit, you got deep on that. I was full on expecting you to be like the tights and the bulge.
Oh, that's well, yeah. I mean, web shooters, man. Like web shooters is
a complete cool. Phallic symbol.
Complete. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it all comes down to, right? It's all, in the end, is everything not about the gravy spigot?
Yeah, that's true. See, we're rubbing off on you. You're using terminology that came out from all. No, that's a really interesting idea. And it is something that I think a lot of people glaze over because it's instantly thought of as just being some cliche, as you mentioned, thing. But it is deeper than a lot of people expect. Okay, so with that, though, we're going to run the Spider-Man train for a bit. What is your favorite Spider-Man costume?
Ooh. You know...
You're wrong.
You know, there is no right answer, so I can't be wrong. I can only be right on different levels.
In your own reality.
Right on many levels, okay? You know, just like there are multiple Spider-Man, there are multiple right answers.
Fair enough.
I have always really liked the classic black suit. The black suit. I mean, it is slick. It is beautiful. It is, you know, somewhat evil.
We're still talking about Spider-Man, not his penis.
I mean,
you didn't think you were going to get off on this easy, did you? This is going to be full on like, this is like the
wow.
Jesse
I really am going to have to just watch what I say. You know, it's just like, I didn't realize that I was with Michael Scott and everything was going to be, that's what she said.
You should expect that all the time.
I should clearly just expect that at all times.
That's the gift party for
you. Yeah, I mean, I like that classic black suit. It's a little bit evil. It's a little bit, but it just looks slick.
Dark and moody. You
know, it's just like me. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. With that in tow then,
yes.
When it comes to Spider-Man villains, what are some of your Spidey villains?
Oh, well, I mean, classic Spider-Man villains that I have always really enjoyed, Dr. Octopus. And just because, for the sheer fact that you have a character named Dr. Octopus, like literally his name is Dr. Octopus, and he is not a goofy, silly throwaway villain. Like, he is a serious, he's a badass.
Yeah.
And his name is Dr. Octopus. Like, just the fact that they were able to pull that off, I think, is very impressive. I've always really enjoyed the storylines with the Green Goblin, just because I think that's a really interesting. He had a really interesting sort of development over various storylines in the Spider-Man series, and yeah, I mean, I like. The whole Sinister Six, I think, is one of my favorite. The Sinister Six, I think, is one of my favorite bad guy teams to come out of the comics, just because they are so very much individual threats. I feel like sometimes you get these supervillain teams and you just throw a bunch of like B characters in there and you get, you know, it's like, oh, they're somewhat threatening because now there's more than one of them to fight at a time.
Yeah.
But this, I feel like, was a great way to take, you know, 6 people that are legitimate individual threats on their own, bring them together. And what I also liked about them is they didn't just, because they formed a team, they didn't just automatically get along with each other either. You know, they hated each other just as much as they hated Spider-Man. It was like, okay, we need to wipe out this bug. We got to work together. But man, yeah. So yeah, but individual villains, definitely Green Goblin, Doc Ock would be my top 2.
Okay. So when it comes to like the tease and all of that that's coming out for the MCU, we don't know, of course, if we're going to see the Sinister Six coming.
Yes.
But is there because there's been multiple interpretations of the Sinister Six, there's never been just a standard Sinister Six.
No.
What would be your Sinister Six, especially if you're going into the MCU? Like, what would you throw in there?
Ooh, that is a very good question. Well, I really like the idea of having. I would really like to see Dr. Octopus in the new MCU. I thought in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, I thought Alfred Molina did a really good job. The second one where he is the main bad guy, I think might be my favorite of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. So I would love to see a Dr. Octopus in there. I would love to see Michael Keaton back as the Vulture. I thought he was a really good fit for that role. It was a very, very sort of unconventional, in a way, Vulture from the Vulture in the comics. I mean, the Vulture in the comics is always like a really old dude.
Yeah.
And he's mostly just about robbing banks and things like that. But I really liked how they kind of made his character a little more interesting in the MCU. So, one of my favorites in the Sinister Six, just because I feel like he kind of balances some of the more scientific, intellectual members, is the Rhino.
Okay.
I mean, he's not the brightest bulb in the block, but he's a big dude. He can smash things, and he's a great foil for Spider-Man to taunt. And
sense.
you gotta love that. You gotta love the Spider-Man taunt.
So now, what do you want to see in the Rhino? Do you want to see him take on like the MCU techno style, or like how the Garfield role went, where he was just a tank?
Right.
Or do you want to see it that he is actually like a dude in a giant rhinoceros costume?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Honestly, okay, I may not make a lot of fans with this opinion, but I'm just gonna say it. I'm kind of over tech suits in the MCU. We've seen a lot of tech suits. That's and true. I would like to see more powered individuals that aren't relying on technology. And it's not that I don't love the Iron Mans and whatnot, but the idea that you can sort of anyone can become a hero with the right technology is certainly very appealing.
Yeah.
But there's something sort of, magical and mystical about someone whose powers come from, an alien source or, gamma radiation or a radioactive spider or whatever. Like I don't know. It's a different thing. So I think it would be neat to see the Rhino as just a really burly, strong dude. I'm not saying he's bitten by a radioactive rhino.
But that'd be pretty awesome.
But that would be cool if you can somehow explain why a rhino was irradiated in the first place.
And on the loose.
And on the loose. But yeah, I think some kind of more just natural abilities, even if you just make him like a really big dude who's really strong. Maybe he doesn't actually have super strength. Maybe he's just super jacked, and maybe his suit is not mechanical, but maybe it provides like some kind of like extra durability or something.
Yeah.
So he can like smash through a wall unharmed or something.
See, like that. You think about that, they would, if they continued the use of the super soldier serum with Falcon Winter Soldier,
yes,
there's a possibility that they could have then introduced someone that could have been, because it's Alexei, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could have been someone similar to that this big jack dude gets a super soldier serum.
Absolutely.
Right? Like there's that idea that could easily happen. Right.
Well, there was the 90s Spider-Man series, which was like probably my favorite of all the Spider-Man animated series. And if I recall correctly, the character of Electro was actually created using a modified version of the super soldier serum in that storyline. So we could see something like that too. The whole thing with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is it really opened up the possibility that there could be a lot more of these super soldiers or people working on this serum out there, which could, in turn be used to create introduce a lot more characters. So kudos to you, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. And you'll be surprised when you watch a certain movie.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So
I'm so excited.
It's going to be weird for people to hear that only like 4 weeks later. But
4 weeks later, yes, it is. I am watching Black Widow tonight. It has been out for a week already. I normally am pretty good about watching movies on their opening weekend, but at the same time, I always go with the same group of friends, and one was not able to make it this past weekend, so we are going this weekend. I'm very excited. This, as Mike said, will be in the future and far beyond and old news by then, but
pretty much.
Yeah.
But it'll still be good.
It'll still be good. I'm so excited.
It'll still be set. And then you'll finally be able to finish that episode.
And I'll finally be able to finish. Yes, the episode.
Jerk. I mean, come on.
My ear holes. They've gone.
They're dry.
They're dry. They're so dry.
That's why you had to come over and get the real deal.
That's straight from the source. It's the only way to do. I highly recommend this, you guys. If you are regular listeners, getting it straight from the horse's mouth, your ear holes will never be the same.
No,
I tell you,
never. We lick you up and give you coffee and say, "Figure it out." Where were we from there?
Sinister Six.
So we got
so Rhino, Vulture,
Knock.
And Doc Ock. And then I think you almost kind of have to have the Kingpin in there. I know we haven't really seen the Kingpin with the recent Spider-Man. Most recent incarnation of him, of course, was the Daredevil series on Netflix. But he can actually be. He's one of those characters that seems very one-dimensional, but I think the more storylines I read with him, the more I realized like he is a victim of a lot of childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And this is what happens, kids. This is what happens when you pick on other kids. They become, giant, oversized warlord criminals that try to hurt Spider-Man. So, that's on you. But he's always been just a really good mastermind kind of type to bring that team together. Like if anyone's going to make this team work as a whole, it's him. So Kingpin, Doc Ock, Vulture, Rhino. And then from there, I mean, there's Shocker, there's Scorpion. I don't really have a lot of thoughts on those guys. They're kind of, in my mind, they're the most sort of like generic throwaway kind of villains.
Well, at least though, they've already introduced Shocker, it's easy enough to bring him.
That is true. That he would be very easy to do in there because
you need a thug. You need thugs.
You do need thugs. You do need.
And they've slightly introduced Scorpion. At least
yes,
Matt
they've
Corman,
teased it.
Right?
They've teased it for sure.
So you've got those coming up for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if those were my Sinister Six, I would be quite happy to see how that worked out. I think that'd be a good group. I think that would definitely be a challenge too. Like I feel like that would be a legitimate threat.
Yeah.
When you look at how Spider-Man took out or how he handled Vulture, it was not an easy fight. That was not easy by any means. And, he's still like, he may have, gone into space now and gone up against Thanos and done all that crazy stuff. But, he's still fairly green. So I think that would pose a significant threat. And I think that would require maybe a phone call to some of his Avenger buddies to show up, in cameo form. And I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You talked a lot about X-Men. Mm-hmm. And you talked about your love of bald men in wheelchairs. So
deep love. Yes.
That is a deep cut for sure. But who are some of your, like, if you were a writer, let's not even go movie wise. If you were a writer, if you were tasked.
Whoa. What do you mean if I was a writer?
Well, you are, but
Sorry, if I was a successful writer is what he meant to say.
If you were given the ability to sit down and someone at Marvel said, hey, you get to write a book. We'll call it whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, let's not worry about the title. That's a finite detail.
Yep.
You get to create a team of X-Men.
Ooh.
Now, who is going to be on your team? And say you've got You have 5 X-Men. Let's go classics.
Okay, 5
roster, right?
Is that including Professor X?
You have 5 X-Men, and then I'll give you 2 more that are more on the sidelines.
Okay.
So 7 X-Men in total.
Okay.
But 2 or more of like background side characters.
Okay.
So only 5 will do the fighting.
And
who would be your threat in your 6-issue arc?
Okay. So first question. Is Professor X included in that 7, or is he just?
He's included in the 7.
He's included in the 7. Yeah. Okay, so 6 really.
In current continuities and all that, he's not really part of it anymore.
Right. So he's one of our side. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Now, before I fully answer this question, though, I have to ask you a question.
Okay.
When it comes to Professor X, Stuart or Mcavoy?
That's a difficult one because they all both brought something different, but I'd have to go with Stuart only because it felt more classic, more traditional. McAvoy, I think McAvoy could have been great. He definitely had the ability to be great, but I think Fox in general rushed that series so much. He went from being so like happy to suddenly being so angry to being so like distant. Right. Like it was like you could honestly Stuart you see as like the blind optimism that things are going to get better. Right. McAvoy's you can see aligning more with the comics, that knowing that he's got a good idea, but he's actually kind of evil. Right. Right. So I kind of want to go with the Stuart route only because I believe in hope. Yeah. So I totally get that. And I know exactly what you're saying. Katie will be like, what's wrong with you is McAvoy, shut your dirty mouth. Well, then it's a good thing she's not here. True. Right? So she might not even listen to the episode. She'll just edit it and just throw it up there and be like, I have no idea what I could say anything. Should we test this? Should we say something that we clearly upset her? Not at all. No. I like my toys. Okay. That's true. I mean, you do have to live with her. So it really wouldn't be fair. No, not at all. But that's a good point. I feel like, you're right. With Fox, I feel like his character was rushed to develop, but you didn't actually see that develop. Like you said, it was just one movie happy, one movie angry, one movie distant, and you didn't see how he got from point A to point B. Whereas Stuart was very consistent through the movies in terms of how he felt and his beliefs and his approach to things. So, and granted, that may come from the fact that he was, much older, already starting from a place of age and experience. Yeah. But still, I would agree with that. I would say Stuart. Okay. But this is really all about me. So, my X-Men team, well, include what their costume would look like. So we know what era you're talking about. Oh my goodness. Or of any changes you'd make. Well, I mean, I honestly, when it comes to costumes, I love the classic 90s cartoon costumes. Fair. I like the bright colors. I like the shiny, the yellow spandex, the tight leather, the big bulges. Like I love it. I mean, that to me, when I think of like X-Men, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. So Jim Lee styling, 100%. In terms of the roster, I would, so I've got my fingers ready to count this out. Okay. So on the sidelines, of course, we have Professor X, number one. He is, and this is the mature Professor X. This is the experienced Professor X. He's trained more than one generation into the team. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants. He's abused a lot of children. Gotten inside of them with their minds. Yeah. They're just their minds. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And he is. I would say he's not like obviously calling the shots on the battlefield, but he is definitely still directing the overall course the team takes. Like he's the commander in chief in terms of they're the weapons. He points them and tells them where to go. Fair enough. Now I'm a little bit
I'm going to come back to the second person on the sidelines. Okay. Because that I'm considering two people for. So let's go to the main team. So the leader is going to be Jubilee. No, I am 100% kidding. I'm 100% kidding.
It's locked in.
No. I take it back. I will remove the finger if I have to. No.
Someone out there was just really sad. They were just like, out there finally, was like, someone realized.
He gets it. And no, Crush. No. You know what? I
could throw in something horrible right now, and then you could look really bad, but I'll let that one slide.
I like Jubilee, but I don't feel like she would fit in a leadership role. So we're going to just retcon that, rewind.
But a bald white man is.
I'm actually not going to say team leader because some of the team leaders are being considered for that actual sideline position. So regular team members. Number 1, Storm. I love Storm. Storm is fantastic. Storm is, I think, been given a bit of a raw deal in the movies because of just how freaking powerful this woman is.
Yeah.
Like she can control she is the mistress of lightning and storms and weather. And that can be some scary shit.
Yeah.
Like that is intense. And I don't think her powers were ever given enough credit or enough scope in any of the movies that she has been portrayed in personally, I think. And she's someone that I believe has acted as leader of the X-Men before. Yep. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so I think she is just overall a solid person. Her background, her upbringing, gives her, I think, a really good connection to people, because even though she is so incredibly powerful, she had a very humble, very very poor beginning, and so she understands compassion and humanity. So I think she is going to be an asset on the team for that reason.
So you're still going with the 90s look?
White
lightning bolt
earrings, jump through the big feathery hair.
Okay,
you know it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, number 2, who else is going to be on the team? I'm going to be really controversial here, and probably a lot of people are going to be surprised by this answer. Wolverine.
I don't know.
I know a lot of people hate the guy. He's not very popular. He's a bit of an obscure character.
That's a low blow for X-Men continuity. I mean, someone that has not been in anything, and
right?
You gotta drag that B-list character. I didn't say B-list. I say at least
Z-list. I mean, first of all, he's Canadian. Like, what the hell's up with that?
I know, right?
But so
quite the raw deal, eh?
Yeah,
it's all about.
I don't believe it.
It's all about those moose.
Go back to his igloo and play some hockey.
The Beaver King.
Yeah, Beaver Kings. Oh yeah.
Okay, are we sticking with the Jim Lee look?
Yeah, I think so. I just, that's like I said, when I think X-Men, that's the first image that comes to my mind is that team.
So what makes Wolverine part of this team then?
So okay, what Wolverine brings to this team is the a little bit of, well, first of all, he's a wild card. You gotta love wild cards. They are entertaining as hell. But at the same time, he is old enough and he's been through enough crap that he is also has that experience that he's bringing to the team. Like he's not some hot-headed rookie who's gonna like jump in and just make a mess of everything. Like he's gonna go in fast and he's gonna go in brutal, but he's gonna know exactly where to hit. He's gonna know exactly who to take down first, and he's probably gonna be the one to take them down.
Fair enough.
So yeah, he's your fastball, right? Wild ball. Yeah, he's your Hulk.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be number 2.
Okay.
Number 3. Oh gosh, this is tough. There's so many great characters out there.
I told you it wasn't going to be easy. Got to hit hard when I have guests on.
I only have. Okay, so I only have.
You got 3 more, and then you have 1 more side character.
No, because I've done 4 already.
Not out loud.
Yeah, Professor X, Storm, and Wolverine. Oh no, that's 3.
Yeah. Unless we're counting Jubilee, unless we're putting her on the team, then yeah, you're set.
Oh boy. Okay. Hey, math is hard. All right.
Certainly.
Don't
hire this guy to teach math.
4 + 1 is 9, right? Anyways, okay. Next one is a character that I've always really loved. That has been portrayed in various incarnations and forms, but is usually pretty much the same. And that is Beast.
Okay. Tread lightly on this.
I know. There's a lot of controversy over, do we want the man face or do we want the Beast face, right?
Don't give me no cat shit.
Okay.
You're out.
Here's the thing. 90s Beast was a man face.
Yeah.
And that's my Beast right there. Okay. So, it's okay.
This podcast might have ended. If you had said, it might have ended very suddenly. You'd have been out on your ass. I've been like, no, get out that back door. You don't get your bag. You don't get your shoes. You just leave now.
I feel like that's a fair and measured reaction.
I have moments of gatekeeping, and this is one of the few of them. I try not to, but Beast is like, no, don't give me some ugly ass cat. I love cats. You all know I love cats, but no one could draw that character. No. When they made that, he looked like a horse in some of those things. Like, yeah. Even the guy that created that Lit Quietly couldn't draw that cat Beast. It looked too much like a horse.
Kelsey Grammer looked fantastic.
Yeah.
As Beast. Fantastic. Honestly, I think the way that they made him into Beast was perfect. Like, oh yeah, that's how you're going to do it. That's brilliant. Yeah. I love it. It's great.
Now, would your Beast wear clothes or would he stick with that Speedo?
I'm going to, you know what? Speedo, but throw in suspenders, just to kind of, so you're going to have like suspended Speedos.
Like instantly when I thought of that, I thought of like red suspenders. I don't know why. And that just seems ridiculous. What color suspenders?
No. They're going to be blue.
Okay.
Like blue. And I'm thinking like with the little like yellow, black X symbol. Okay. Like on either side, just so he doesn't have like a big one. So like
the idea that he has like an H back so that he can like have like a backpack or something.
Exactly. This is what I'm thinking. That's his like utility belt, right? Okay, because he's the techie guy. He's the science guy. And, without Beast, I don't think they're going to have a functional Blackbird for very long.
Okay,
right.
That works.
And that is crucial to so many missions.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful vehicle. I mean, as far as stealth jets go, I don't know why all militaries in the world don't just design them like the Blackbird. Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. I love it. If they ever had like a model Blackbird that I could buy, which they probably do. As I'm saying this now, it sounds ridiculous to think that they wouldn't.
They have a transformer that turns into a Sentinel.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It just came out. It's a Blackbird and it turns into a Sentinel.
Huh.
Or it turns into not a Sentinel, but like something that looks like a Sentinel. It's like a X-Men Transformers collab. It comes with little tiny Cyclops, I think, too.
This is something I'm gonna have to look into.
You probably should, because I know that your pockets are burning.
Like my pockets are burning
your money,
right now.
like Scrooge McDuck right now.
Yep. Oh, that'd be great if I could have a Scrooge McDuck. Does anybody out there have a swimming pool that they would like to donate that I can just fill with money and just dive into? If anyone out there, please contact Mike. Let him know. I would love to have my Scrooge McDuck moment. I'm gonna do all Canadian pennies, which is gonna be hard to find, because we stopped using them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just gonna fill that thing with pennies, dive in, and have a horribly disfigured face.
I think this needs to happen. Like, this needs to be a YouTube video. Like,
yeah, Canadian Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah. Like this is. Oh, now I want to make this happen.
Well,
I think I've got like 100 pennies upstairs.
Could we start like a Cup of Rad donation of pennies? Like listeners, please send in your pennies to Cup of Rad.
Mail Mike these pennies.
Mail Mike. I want you to mail Mike all the pennies you have, all the pennies your grandmother has in those big water jugs sitting in her attic right now. I want you to take them down to the post office and mail them to Mike. I know it's going to be expensive. Because that stuff's heavy, but you know what? You're going to get an amazing video out of it. So please.
Can I say only if you're in a Speedo?
Well, of course I'm going to be in a Speedo.
Okay, fair.
What else would I be?
Or the Borat thing.
Oh, no. It's going to be a Speedo.
Okay.
As like a tribute to Scrooge McDuck, I'm thinking like a tartan Speedo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And possibly a monocle.
Okay. That makes it better.
Yeah. Not a tartan monocle.
Well, yeah.
Because
maybe we can get you a top hat.
Oh my gosh. I love that idea so much.
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like a man walking around in a tartan Speedo with a monocle and a top hat will not get arrested. Has all. I was going to say has all the power in the world, but yeah, I guess that would fall under and definitely 100% will not get arrested.
No, definitely.
Especially not when I show up to work.
No, not at all. I'm sure you could walk down the street in just that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that would be exactly what would happen.
I'm pretty sure I'd end up on video for other reasons.
Yeah.
Hey, anyway.
No, this is something that needs to happen, apparently. We need, that was always something that's going to diverge from the X-Men talk, but that was always something that I always wanted to do when Jackass came out. I wanted a group of friends that I could do stupid shit with, and I'm thinking this might have to happen. This Cup of Rad might diverge into making videos in the future of me torturing you.
So like, and then we call it Cup of Ass.
Yep. Gives a whole new meaning to Two Girls, One Cup.
Oh no.
Anyways, back to X-Men.
Back to X-Men. Yes.
So we
back to the very PG 1990s cartoon X-Men.
Wolverine. We got Beast.
Yes.
He's got a rad new costume. He's the only one that's got a divergence from his costume.
Yes.
So yeah, and then we got Professor X in the background.
Yes.
Playing with himself. Got it.
Okay. Wait, what? Okay. So 2 more main characters, 1 more side. Okay. Second main character, and I've actually decided this now. I figured this out. I feel pretty confident now.
Side character
or no, sorry. Next main character.
Okay.
Is one of my absolute all-time favorite X-Men characters. Just he's so cool. He's so slick. I love his abilities. Again, I think he got shafted in the films, and I'm talking about Gambit.
Oh, fair.
Whenever I had I would play X-Men with my friends, I would always want to be Gambit. And just, I don't know, like he was a cool ladies man with, an ability that makes stuff blow up. I mean, come on.
He's got a big staff in his hand.
He's got a big staff in his hand at all times, and he knows how to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. I've always enjoyed Gambit as a character. I think he, again, you've got a character like him who is, part of this heroic team, but he's got a criminal background. He was not always a good guy. He had to learn the hard way about the responsibilities of using your powers for good, like certain other characters we may have already discussed.
Fair. Now, saying that you admire in this, is there anything about your background that leaves you with a criminal background that I'm not aware of?
I am not at liberty to discuss.
Fair enough.
My lawyers
haven't this guest. I apologize for any of his past doings.
My lawyers have advised me to end this conversation. So, anyways. The accent too. I mean, that sort of like Cajun accent. I mean, it's just it's badass. It's
with a Cajun accent.
You cannot go wrong with a Cajun accent.
Now, can you do a Cajun accent? Because we have so many listeners in Louisiana, they might hurt you.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then. I'm not gonna.
I don't think we have a single one in Louisiana.
Well, not yet.
Not now.
Not now. Yeah, but what happens when you open up your Cajun food truck and then you get known in those communities, in those circles, and they Google you and they find Cup of Rad podcast and they single in on this episode
and they would know that it was not me doing it. It was some cuckoo commander
that's true.
Came on and started doing some crazy ass Cajun accent.
Oh God, I'm probably, what? It would probably just sound too much like Leatherhead at this point.
Well, that's not too bad because Jim Cummings actually is from Louisiana.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he actually, that accent that he does for Leatherhead and the accent that he does for Ray the Lightbug is actually dialects that was picked up in his years of living down there.
Well, I just knew. You know, I always learn something on this podcast. I never expected, to learn something straight from the source. It's even that more magical.
Right?
I feel so validated.
You should.
I feel so special.
My useless knowledge that is stored up there that makes me no money has just made you feel better.
Yay! Okay, we're getting down to the wire here, though.
Oh, is the costume staying the same?
Oh, costume is definitely staying the same.
Okay.
The only thing about is I've never really been a big fan of of the 90s version where, he's got that weird kind of like headband thing that goes up and covers his head.
Okay.
I've never really been a big fan of that. Like, that man has a gorgeous head of red hair. Let it out.
Okay.
I like the from the 90s cartoon, the flashback episodes where he's just got like a long ponytail. Like, I think that's fine. Let's just do that.
Fair.
So let's just do that small edit. Otherwise, he can have the same costume.
Okay.
Okay, we're down to 2 now. So now I know that
one's a sideline, one's a real one.
Yes. I know that the inclusion of Gambit would certainly heavily imply the inclusion of Rogue as the next member of the team. However, I'm not going to include Rogue in this, although I feel like I should get maybe like a couple of honorable mentions at the end. So, for team members that I would maybe like to have included, but just was limited.
Well, see, you got to prove yourself in these 6 issues. Then maybe you can expand it. So.
Okay. So, next member is Nightcrawler.
Okay.
Final regular member. And the reason that I have chosen to include Nightcrawler is for a couple of reasons. One, he's got a really cool ability. The teleportation is, it's like I always thought the ability to teleport would be really cool. But seeing Nightcrawler and realizing like the combat applications of teleporting, I'm like, that is just absolutely so badass. I never would have thought to do that. One of my favorite X-Men scenes of all time is the opening scene of X2 where he is carrying out an attack on I apologize if this is a spoiler alert for anyone. It's a very recent movie where he's carrying out an attack in the White House, and just seeing him, like, I think what I liked about that was seeing him like really unleashed. Normally he is a bit more reserved and he's a very shy and timid character, but he was just completely unleashed, and due to being mind controlled at the time. And so that was really exciting for me to see. So yeah, I think I would. And also Nightcrawler's backstory, I feel just ties in so heavily to the whole X-Men lore, like him coming from, being Mystique's child and just, growing up the way he did. I just feel like he adds a lot of interesting dynamic to the team in that sense. And so he would be my final choice. Okay. Whew, now I know there's a lot of big names out there that I have not mentioned, and you're probably wondering who the second sideline character is.
Like, this one's not going in active battle.
This is not going in active battle.
No.
This is purely in an
You've
advisory.
Got your 5. They're out there.
My 5s are at 5 out there. I'm happy for it. There's
Xavier
a lot of big names out there.
Mansion, given his thing. Who's the other one back?
Who's
the
backing him up? So there's a lot of big names I haven't mentioned. I have not mentioned Jean Grey. I have not mentioned Cyclops. I have not mentioned Colossus, Kitty Pryde, Iceman. Like, these are some big names. So backing up Professor Xavier is going to be Cyclops.
Fair enough.
On the sidelines. And the reason that I am putting Cyclops on the sidelines is because in this version, which is a story that I get to create as per your instructions in the beginning, Jean Grey is already dead at this point. she's already passed away, which is part of the reason why he's on the sidelines. He's kind of in that moody, lost the will, but at the point where he wants to be somewhat useful, but has lost the will to go out there and fight the good fight. And so for that reason, he is with Professor X, guiding the team.
So with that, though, we've got a great team. We got pretty much your quintessential 90s team.
Yep.
I didn't even ask, is he keeping that 90s look, or is you giving him anything else?
I like the 90s look. I really don't want to deviate too much from that. I like it. It's classic.
So I know it's like that Elseworlds 90s tale.
Yeah. I realize fully that the look is outdated for the modern era. Yeah. It would not play off as well, but that's okay. We're talking about what's inside my head right now.
Yeah. Your fan
and inside
fiction.
my head, it's beautiful.
All right. So what is their threat? Like in your 6-issue arc, what is their threat? What is it that makes them have to get out of bed and be a superhero?
Okay. There are many classic foes, and I am going to actually stick with the classic here because I really, really like the idea of the Sentinels. And the reason that I like the idea of the Sentinels is because this is a man-made threat. This is a threat that I feel could potentially be a real reaction to if the world woke up one day and mutants were a thing. Okay. It's really a great sort of example of how, we really try to, as humans, control and or either control or exterminate things that we don't understand, things that we fear, things that we can't control. We tend to either find a way to control them, and if we can't do that, exterminate them. And this is something that we've seen throughout our history as a recurring thing in history. And I feel like the X-Men did a really good job of pushing that to the forefront. I mean, the X-Men has always been a great commentary on all sorts of society's foibles in general, like how we treat other races and sexualities and whatnot. But that was the Sentinel program was always really showing how that there's that basic human desire and need to either be in control or exterminate what we don't understand and what we fear. So I would definitely do the Sentinels in there. I would love to bring in Magneto as kind of like not necessarily the main villain, but as like a villain who maybe he's already at this point on Genosha. Maybe he's got, his clan set up over there. And maybe he comes and joins the fold against the Sentinels as this threat is rising and becoming more apparent. So yeah, I'd love to see a good solid Sentinel arc. I would like to see more explored with Trask, Bolivar Trask, and how he created the Sentinels, why he created them. I would really want to, despite the fact that he's the villain, I would want to really humanize him. Like I would want the reader to understand and feel that fear that he feels that is motivating him to build these Sentinels. So I would try and build a really good complex backstory for him, not just I'm creating this weapon for the government because mutants are bad and blah blah blah. So yeah I think that would be sort of the main villain and sort of the gist of the arc that I would do.
Fair.
Yeah.
Gonna throw the sideball. One more character gets to join the team late in it. It's a surprise. They rip open a Sentinel. I'm interjecting my own fan fiction to your own story.
Yeah.
They rip open a Sentinel and find out that inside one of these Sentinels is
Rogue. It's got to be Rogue.
Okay.
Because I don't have a lot of female characters right now, as I realize.
Sexist.
But I know that's terrible. No, Rogue.
Too much testosterone in this show.
Way too much testosterone. Rogue is fantastic. It would be a toss up though, because I mean, I love Colossus. He's great. He's so, I wasn't a big fan of Colossus in the films. I mean, he was cool. He was big. He was shiny. He was metal. But, you know, without the Russian accent, he loses so much of his charm, I feel. But it would probably be Rogue. I would love to, you know, see like Colossus as a character wandering in. He's, you know, maybe he's suffered some kind of amnesia. He sees these sentinels. He thinks, I must be a sentinel. I am also covered in metal. Death's immune. And then he kind of joins their side, and then eventually maybe he gets knocked on the head. I'm going to be honest. One of the only reasons I want Colossus in there is for the fastball. And, you know, yeah.
That's one thing I hope that we'll see.
We didn't really... Were you satisfied with the one that we got in the previous movies? Because it wasn't just during like a training thing in the danger room?
Yeah, in Last Stand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Were you satisfied with that as a fastball? Bringing a fastball special onto the screen?
It was cool. It was probably the coolest moment of that movie.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
But besides that, no.
Not satisfying. And you know what? I think you know why? Because Wolverine was not in the yellow spandex.
No. They wanted to really have made that a fan service moment. They all would have been in actual costumes.
Yes.
And it would have been more dope.
Yes.
So.
Absolutely. Okay. So, you know, I feel like I've dominated so much of the conversation with you asking me questions.
Well, it's been fantastic. It's been great to hear your thoughts on this, right? Because, you know, we joke back and forth like daily, but we don't actually get to have some of these conversations.
No, I never really like finish them out fully in depth, right?
Like we
this.
Usually like a GIF gets thrown in there, and then one of us disappears for hours.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always Schitt's Creek. How is that? How is it they always have... They have
fitting everything you need to say.
Every single situation.
And those of you who haven't watched it, go check out Netflix. Schitt's Creek. It's hilarious. Written by Canadians, starred by Canadians. We're the best people on the planet.
Yeah, we are. We're hilarious. I mean, there's nothing funnier than a Canadian
in their underpants.
I mean,
that's what we're doing right now.
That's what we're doing right, absolutely right now. Yeah. Ha ha! And none of you caught on. Ha.
Well, why do you think we had all the Speedo talk? I mean, like,
well, that's true. I mean, you know. I am the whole Beast outfit with the Speedo and the suspenders is actually what I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
I can see it was too. Not just made up on the spot.
I hope so many other people are listening to this because you're on the show and they're like, damn.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Hi, Mom, if you're listening. I know you are. Because I told you to.
I hope that happens.
Yeah.
But I probably never get invited over for dinner now.
Tell the grandparents. Oh, there's going to be some awkward phone calls later on.
There's going to be some great phone calls. It's going to be. This is like inside of you. Like this is like. Yes. Completely different.
Who has not wanted to be inside of Jesse at one point or another, right?
It's like crawling up in that tauntaun.
Crawling up into the tauntaun. Right? Like, that I'm spilling my warm guts all over you.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what we do here.
That's what I'm here for.
This is like a dream because this is what I want to do. I want to travel the world and do this with other people.
like spill their guts and sleep inside them?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay. Yeah.
I figure that's a good way to start.
That's called serial.
Only if you get caught. So
you're not wrong.
You know, who would realize that it's also a show and they would just never put the dots together? So fair enough, right?
Flawless plan. I can see you've clearly thought this through. You've thought this through
so many times.
Lot.
I mean,
and you know,
it was the whole point.
Every contingency is covered. I can tell.
Right.
So
totally.
Why not?
I want to be on the run. Look at this place. It totally looks like I'm ready to just leave. Right.
Does anybody even live here? I mean, besides the occasional hobo that breaks in.
Yeah.
No, I think you should follow your dreams. Really.
You just want me out of the game.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to slowly take over. Yeah, I'm going to be starting my own podcast. It's going to be a cup of. No, I can't think of anything right now. I can't think of anything. I can't be clever.
The wrong place. The wrong place. No, but that's what I would do. I would love to if I could get it together, if I could get the money and all that to go. You know, if someone wants to sponsor me, I don't know, Netflix or something, and tell me to go travel the world and find people with fandoms and talk about their fans. We haven't even really cut deep into any of your fandoms.
No,
like this is going to be a double-sided. This is going to be a very double-sided episode. Double-sided. Double. It's like the
double length.
Yeah, something supersized.
Supersized.
Okay, how about we just cut it there and we'll come back next week with part 2 with Jesse. I think that's probably our best bet. So you know what? It's been a great interview with Jesse this week, learning a bit about his fandoms and all that. But next week, we're going to come back with part 2 and learn more. So you know what? Keep your ear holes open and stay rad, dudes. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!